Coach Prime, at least for now, is way overvalued. People need to wake up to this idea. I want you to forget about the fact. Let me say this again. Both things can be true. I like Deion Sanders. I like Coach Prime. I do not like the way he is handling this particular situation. Let me put it to you another way. Do you like your brother? Do you like your sister? But do sometimes they annoy you and you're like, why are you doing this? This is the way I feel because I was a big primetime fan back in the day, but I'm like, I don't know what you're doing here. Take him aside for a second and look at who Colorado has recruited. And I keep hearing, oh, man, he's bringing in all these recruits. Is he? Is he? No, he's not. He's not. He has his son. He has Travis Hunter. And honestly, more than anything else, two things. A, this is a rivalry game. This is Colorado. This is Colorado State. This also went to overtime last year in Boulder. And Colorado was really, really lucky to win that game. And finally, when I see a guy like Shedeur Sanders, and we were talking about this earlier this week, when he is criticizing his offensive line, do you think that's going to make his offensive line better? No, it's not. And also, Colorado is one-dimensional. Right now, they are averaging 1.4 yards per carry on the ground. So you're going to have to throw the ball behind an offensive line that can't protect you and probably doesn't want to protect you against Colorado State. You're giving me the Rams +7 in Fort Collins? Yes, Colorado State is the call.
Yeah, I think because of some of these new conferences, we're seeing some like almost rivalry games earlier in the season. Like we have Utah State, I think this weekend as well. So I think maybe some good opportunities for betting on some of these underdogs. And you're right about Coach Prime. Maybe you should do next week's segment if you're fading the Buffaloes again with those big shield sunglasses that Coach Prime wears. Jake has some of those that he wears that when he coaches baseball, and I tried them on the other day, and immediately, like, I wanted to yell and, like, spit sunflower seeds. I look ridiculous in them. All right, next up, let's go to me. So I'm going to be fading my quarterback. Thank God, Will Levis. I was talking to Bill about this. There are levels to interceptions. There is level one where, it bounces off somebody's helmet. It is a fluke play. You can't do anything. You just throw up your hands. Level 2 interception, you throw into coverage. It was a risky play, but you see why they did it. And then level 3, these are the interceptions that your quarterback makes that you feel in your stomach. You want to throw up there so bad. That's what Will Levis did last week against the Bears. What a disaster. So here's my take here. I'm going to go under his passing yardage prop, 198.5, because do you think Will Levis is going to be taking chances this week? Probably not. Not after the entire NFL world roasted him for some of these terrible decisions. And plus, if you look at last year, he went under this number in half of his games anyway. He's going against a Jets secondary that's one of the best in the NFL. Somebody like Sauce Gardner's on the other side. So I'm going to go under his passing yards of 198.5 this week against the Jets. All right, David, you normally go to the college ranks, and it looks like you're doing just that. Who do you like for the show parlay?
Well, behind the scenes, me and my guy Dylan, who is sporting that beautiful sweatshirt from Coastal Carolina, talked about this. Coastal Carolina might be one of the most balanced non-Power 4 teams in the country. They won week 1 by going air. They won week 2 running the ball down the throat of their opponent. And Temple is very, very, very bad. So I'm taking Coastal Carolina -17.5 at Temple.
All right. I feel like I have a bone to pick with Coastal Carolina because they gave my NC State Wolfpack Grayson McCall, who I thought was going to be amazing. And then I saw his arm strength and I was like, oh no, these rainbows, this is our quarterback. Hopefully things are better the rest of the stretch for Grayson McCall and my Wolfpack. All right, Dylan. So are you ready for your show parlay pick? Who do you like, brother?
Yeah, so this week I'm going back to the NFL for props. I'm going Amon-Ra St. Brown over 6.5 catches. Last year in the regular season versus the Bucs, St. Brown had 12 catches on 15 targets versus the Bucs, and then in the playoffs he had 8 catches on 14 targets. He cleared 6.5 receptions in both games last year versus the Bucs, and 6 targets last week would tie his season low last year of 6 targets. So I can expect a pretty solid bounce back here. Last year, he averaged 7.5 receptions a game on 10.3 targets. I think he bounces back in a big way versus Tampa.
Yeah, there's no way he's silent again, for the second week in a row. I think he probably has a big game. Back and forth affair expected. The Bucks and Lions total is 51.5. So I think that's going to be a really good game for props. I almost went to Mike Evans again, but the heart couldn't handle it after he missed his prop by 7 yards last week. All right, Bill, it looks like you're going plus money for the parlay. What do you got?
I'm going. I know you guys hate when I do this. I'm going college rivalry game, the backyard brawl, as they call it, in Pittsburgh, West Virginia. The Mountaineers going up to play the Panthers. I like Pitt in this one. The line is only 2, so I don't really need to take the +2. Of course, come Monday when they've lost by 1, I'll wish I had taken +2. But I'll take Pitt to win this one. I know they've lost 4 of the last 5, but they have a new quarterback this year. The transfer from Alabama and Eli Holston, they're spreading the field out a little bit more. They're going up-tempo with their offense, kind of a Mike Leach air raid type system that they're running there in Pittsburgh now. They've won their first 2 games. And West Virginia, as we know, struggled big time against Penn State in week 1. Albany, their quarterback, threw for over 300 yards against West Virginia last week. That game was actually close into the second quarter. I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair. I almost went with the over, but instead we'll go a little plus money. We'll take Pitt on the money line against West Virginia to win the backyard brawl.
Oh, yeah. And if you're liking big plus money, a $10 bet on our parlay would pay you $235 and 30 cents. So here are the parlay legs if you missed them. So Jenks is taking Colorado State +7. I'm going to go with Will Levis of the Tennessee Titans under his passing yardage prop of 198.5. David's going with Coastal Carolina like 17.5. And then Dylan is going Amon-Ra St. Brown over 6.5 receptions. And as for Bill, he's going with Pitt on the money line +110 over West Virginia. That is our show parlay for the weekend.
Jeff Wilson Jr. did have a good week 1. He had a good season last season. And I think Jalen Wright can add something. And if you want to talk from a gambling perspective, not that they're going to turn Tua into Josh Allen, but I love the Tua over 4.5 yards rushing. I bet Tua over 2.5 yards rushing week 1. I have said a million times on our show in Miami over the offseason, I think Tua is adding a new element to the game this year. He's thinner. He stayed healthy for 17 games last season. He showed that he's durable. The only element that he was missing was, being somewhat of a threat with his legs. He would slide at a moment's notice. And so I'm going to hammer Tua rushing overs until Vegas catches up, in my opinion. I think the lines are low. It was 2.5 week 1. He went over. It's 4.5 for tonight. I think he's going over tonight.